All right, let's talk about something that's honestly a superpower in today's world, critical thinking. And here's the good news. It's not something you're just born with. Nope, it's a skill, a muscle. And today, we're going to show you how to get it to the gym.
You know that feeling, right? You're in an argument, maybe with a friend or a coworker, and you are just so convinced you're right. You've backed yourself into a corner, and you can't even imagine how the other person sees it. Well, that's not just you being stubborn. It's actually a clue that your brain's own built-in shortcuts might be getting in your way.
So to make this all a bit more concrete, let's look at a case file. This is Omar. He's got a travel company, but his tours in Dammam, well, they're just not selling. And Omar, he's totally sure he knows why. He thinks it's simple. We just need to throw more money at advertising. But here's the thing. He's already done that, and sales are still totally flat. His situation is a perfect way for us to see these mental traps in action.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll look at the brain's natural blind spots. Then, we'll dive into the "I'm right" trap, breaking from the crowd and seeing past the noise. We'll also touch on thinking with your heart, and we'll finish up with a toolkit you can use right away.
Okay, so section 1, your brain's blind spots. You know, the very first step to thinking better is just admitting a simple truth. Our brains aren't perfect. Not even close. They're actually built for speed and efficiency, which means they use all these little mental shortcuts to help us navigate the day. But, and this is a big but, those same shortcuts can create some pretty massive blind spots.
And that's really the core idea here. Critical thinking isn't about some people having smarter brains than others. It's all about learning to recognize these shortcuts, these mental obstacles, as they're happening. It's a skill, plain and simple. And you get better at it with practice, just by learning to spot these things one by one.
All right, let's dive into our first obstacle, and it's a big one, the "I'm right" trap. I think we can all relate to this one. It's all about something called egocentric thinking.
So what is that? Well, egocentric thinking is basically our brain's default setting. It's how we see the world entirely from our own perspective, and we just kind of assume that our way of seeing things is the normal way. The correct way. And that right there is what makes it so hard to see things from another angle or even spot the holes in our own argument.
So how do you fix it? The trap is easy, just assuming your view is the only one that matters. The fix, though, is simple but super powerful. You have to consciously realize, okay, this is my point of view, and then you have to actually go out and find other ones. Think about Omar again. He's totally stuck on this idea that the ad budget is the only issue. To get out of that trap, he needs to turn to his team and genuinely ask, hey, what am I missing here? What if I'm completely wrong about this whole ad thing?
Okay, so let's move on to the next hurdle. This one's all about the powerful pull to just go along with the crowd. It's called social conditioning. And look, we are all socially conditioned. It's not a bad thing. It's how we learn the rules, how we fit in, how we feel like we belong to our family or our workplace. But, yeah, there's a flip side. It can make us accept ideas without ever really thinking about them, just because that's what we do here or everyone thinks this way.
So the way to fight back is to intentionally challenge that groupthink. You have to ask, what if the unpopular opinion is actually the smart one? Let's check back in with Omar. Maybe the entire travel industry runs on this one belief. More ads means more sales. That's social conditioning in a nutshell. For him to break out of that, he has to stop and question that golden rule. He has to ask, wait a second, is that actually true for us? For these specific tours, in this specific market right now?
All right, next up we've got two traps that are kind of like two sides of the same coin. They both mess with our perception, almost like a funhouse mirror. We're talking about outliers and normalization. It's all about learning to tune out the mental noise.
So, an outlier, what is it? It's just an extreme experience. It can be extremely good or extremely bad. You know, think about having one absolutely horrible flight that makes you terrified to get on a plane again, even though you know logically that thousands of flights land safely every single day. That one really bad experience, that's the outlier. And it can totally warp how you see things in the future.
The trick here is to recognize that power. You can't let one single event, good or bad, call all the shots for the future. You just have to be aware of how much it's biasing you. So let's say Omar's company tried some edgy social media thing 5 years ago, and it was a total disaster,
a complete flop. That one negative outlier could be the very thing that's making him scared to try anything new today, keeping him stuck with the safe advertising that isn't even working anymore. Now, the flip side of that coin is normalization. This happens when an idea gets repeated over and over and over until we just accept it as, well, normal. We don't even question it anymore. And the best way to fight this is to call in a friend: creative thinking. See, critical thinking and creative thinking are a team. They work together to poke holes in what's considered normal and help you see things in a totally new light. Okay, on to our final obstacle. And this one might surprise you. It's not about getting rid of your emotions. It's about fundamentally misunderstanding how they're supposed to work with your brain. I mean, for centuries, we've been told that reason and emotion are total opposites, right? You've got your logical, rational computer brain on one side and your messy, irrational feelings on the other. The old way of thinking was that any emotion was like a virus that corrupted the pure logic.
But, plot twist, modern neuroscience has completely flipped that idea on its head. Incredible research, including studies from places like KUST, uses brain imaging to show us that emotion and logic aren't enemies, they're partners. In fact, it turns out we literally can't make good decisions without our emotions. Our brains actually need both systems, the emotional and the logical, working together to function properly.
So the real fix isn't to shut your feelings down. It's to listen to them, pay attention to that gut reaction. But then, and this part is absolutely crucial, you have to use your logic to investigate that feeling. Ask yourself, okay, why do I feel this way? What's the logic or the experience behind this emotion? It's not about letting your feelings run the show, but it's not about ignoring them either. It's all about finding that perfect balance.
All right, so we've broken down the 5 big obstacles. Now let's put it all together into a toolkit you can actually use. Let's make you a sharper thinker. And here it is, your 5-point mental checklist. Just think about Omar running through this. Number 1, challenge your ego. He'd ask, is it just me? Or number 2, question the group. He'd challenge that old more ads idea. Number 3, spot the outliers. Is a past failure holding him back? 4, rethink the normal. Is that idea just an old habit? And finally, 5, listen to your feelings. What is his gut telling him that his spreadsheet isn't?
So ultimately, this isn't about Omar anymore. It's about you. As you go through the rest of your day, your week, which one of these traps are you going to look out for first? Because honestly, just noticing it is more than half the battle. Thanks for tuning in.